Well, welcome to Goldington Road. Welcome to the Dovecote Park Suites. And we look out over a rather rain-swept Goldington Road. But I really wanted to gather you two, Gareth Alred and David Gunner, just to ask you a few questions. There's been a lot of chatter, a lot of talk. There's a lot of noise around the Championship. There's some great noise around Bedford Blues. And I just really wanted to take the opportunity to speak to you today and see what we can find out, if possible. I'm going to start with Bedford Blues. This is a good news story, isn't it, David? I mean, there's the last 12, 18 months have been full of really bad news from the world of rugby. But Bedford Blues has something really good going on. Tell us just how good a place Bedford Blues is in at the moment.
Well, I think you're right, Sam, in saying that there's been a lot of financial difficulties in the world of rugby, and we've seen some very high-level casualty clubs, even in our division this season, the demise of Jersey. But I mean, as you say, I think that we're in a good place here at Goldington Road, at Bedford Blues. We've always worked really, really hard at trying to be sustainable and trying to reach a break-even financial position. And because of all the hard work that goes in here and the great support that we have, last year we actually managed to just slightly do better than break-even. And we've just reported that at our AGM. And there's no reason why we shouldn't continue to do that this year. We've made a good start with crowds and in the league, and we're pretty, I won't say relaxed, but it takes a lot of hard work. But we're pretty sure that we can continue with that sustainable position. Yeah.
And Gareth, a huge amount of work goes into that. As David alludes to, it's not been easy, but once you get into a position where things are starting to come together, the game on the pitch, the game off the pitch is starting to come together, crowds continue to turn up and support this club. It must be really pleasing to see the sort of responses that you're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're very lucky, aren't we? We sit in a rugby town with fantastic supporters, but we have had huge increases over probably the last 9 years, really, in terms of sponsorship has increased year on year. Our sponsors are, to be honest, been fantastic. The lifeblood of the club remains our season ticket holders. Every stakeholder involved in the club has helped us. We've had the growth of our community efforts, now the Blues Foundation, the women's team. We're subletting every space available, whether it's advertising or whether it's rent, and the gym and even the car park now. So we're in a healthy spot, but we do still have the same challenges that we always have. We've got a ground here since 1886 that needs a bit of love and care. We replaced the stand roof, which was unplanned in the summer. And we are very lucky that even post the cost of that, thanks to, again, another partner of ours, but we still managed to post a small profit. But that is really down to the support that we get, and we never take that for granted. We're very lucky that we were just 12 shy of 3,000 against Cambridge last week. And we're given all of the challenges that you hear. Actually, just our own model, we've adapted well post-COVID, and we're fortunate to be sat where we are.
So that brings me to the Championship as a wider picture, because Bedford sits as a club, one of, a few in this second tier of English rugby. And there are a lot of questions around what the second tier of English rugby looks like in the future, in the near future, in the distant future. David, what would you like to say as regards that picture? From a Bedford Blues point of view, what do you want the second tier of rugby to be?
Well, that's a very big question, Sam. I mean, obviously there's an enormous amount of discussion going on about the reshaping and the restructuring of the game. A lot of that is focusing on what happens to the second tier, which is where the Championship is at the moment. I mean, does the second tier fulfil a function as a pathway for developing players? And is the Championship the right medium for doing that? And where does it sit in terms of relationship to the Premiership? Where does it sit with promotion and relegation? And where does it sit with funding? And while there is an enormous amount of discussion going on, and I have to say that we're, as a Championship club, we're participating fully in that discussion. I mean, Gareth's on the commercial working group that is looking at driving sponsorship and broadcast revenues for the Championship. But it's still a pretty hazy picture. We've got no real idea of what a Premiership 2 would look like. How many clubs would be in it? Would there be promotion and relegation? Would you have to tender to be involved in it? And fundamentally, what the funding would be. So we haven't seen a model that says we want you to do this to be a second-tier club, but the funding is this, and we haven't seen that.
So hang on, are you saying that and this makes logic in my mind, and may well make logic to the people listening, you can't really make a decision until you know what the picture looks like. I mean, you kind of know what you don't want, but what do you want is still up for discussion.
I think you put your finger on it. I think we know what we don't want. We're not the Championship's not keen on a tender process. We want a genuinely competitive league. But we haven't seen any propositions to consider. As we said earlier when we were discussing, change is inevitable. Change is good, but it has to be properly thought through. And the funding, you can't avoid the funding question. It's like the elephant in the room every time.
Okay, and Gareth, is one of the difficulties that potentially is involved in this is the amount of different voices. The Championship contains... the Championship is full of different clubs who want different things and want to see their club as something different. And Bedford Blues will be a type of that. Is one of the challenges trying to find something that fits everyone's bill, as it were?
Absolutely, and we've known that for a long time. That isn't anything new. We probably sit in the middle of a lot of that, where very realistic, we're sustainable, but we are ambitious. We get probably a little bit frustrated by the labels that get listed as Bedford. I mean, a lot of that is predominantly around relegation and promotion. The criteria just makes it almost impossible. I think going back to probably David's point around the revenues and the commercial and broadcast opportunity that sits out there, actually part of it we don't even know where we are because we've never been sold before, so we need to find that out. We also feel that there's, I guess, a bit of a question to be answered over the value of the champ because the exposure levels. So talk about growing revenues. Actually, part of it is we need to be exposed. Who knows about the champ? Well, where are we on TV? It might not be selling the rights. It might be just getting them out there. So yeah, I've gone around the houses on that answer, Sam, but because it's actually such a difficult question, we know that's something that needs answering. But surely the game needs to give us that direction of travel. The RFU's job is to tell us, I guess, a little bit where they see if P2 second tier, call it what you want. In 2015, we received 660k, which told us we needed to be professional. I think even that is that a capital P or a small P? Even our former chairman used to ask. That is challenging even to run a full-time club. Right now, we're being asked to do that on 145,000. It just doesn't work. So we need some direction.
I mean, you do. You went round the houses, but to a certain extent, it does show. It shows how complicated it is. But surely you can't argue with the fact that the second tier of English rugby needs to exist, David, because of the pathway through to international rugby.
That's absolutely essential, Sam, and I think that is one thing that had taken a long time to land with the governing bodies, because the amount of England players that have played in the Championship and come up through the Championship, and also, even from this club, we were talking about it before, the Josh Bassett's, the Charlie Clares as well, they're Premiership players, and they're Premiership players because they cut their teeth in the Championship. It's pretty difficult being at the Menai Field, on a dark afternoon, being 10 points down, and you've got to dig your way out of it, and that's what grows players mentally and physically, and is that's why we think it's essential. We've said all along that the Championship's a great breeding ground for not only players, of coaches, referees, everything. Mm-hmm. It is the genuine national pathway. And we'll participate in anything that helps bring younger players along. You look at our arrangement with Saints, how much that's done for us. So yeah, it's essential to have a thriving second tier. I mean, it's often not, again, as Gareth would say, not going down a rabbit warren, but we're often compared unfavourably to France, where there's not only a thriving second tier, but there's now a thriving national third tier. And this is a competition that has full-blooded promotion and relegation. So yeah, the second tier is vital, and we want it to be as strong as possible, and we want Blues to be a part of that. I mean, we put on a brand of attractive rugby here that is attracting crowds, and we're very well supported, and long may it continue. But we want to play at the most competitive and highest possible level.
near 200 players have gone from the Championship to the Premiership, or
Yeah.
to the highest level.
Yeah.
So as a pathway, it just cannot be argued that we
No.
develop players. That fundamentally is a statement. This league does that.
I suppose the obvious question is, what's the next step? What would you like to see? And I appreciate it's going to be a long road. I appreciate it's not just, flipping over one card and doing what it says. There's going to have to be a process. Where do you want this to go? What do you want the next step to be, or who do you need to hear from next to allow us to get some movement on this?
Well, it's got to come from the governing body, and it's got to come from proper consultative discussion about the future with the governing body. That there's been a lot of issues in the past around trust and consultation, and we've got to put that behind us, and we've got to talk openly, properly with the governing body and with Premiership clubs about what is best for the future of the game in England. The game's got enough challenges as it is. It needs to have proper competitive pyramid structure with a pathway. But we, the Championship, need to be involved in those discussions.
I think we want a certain amount of clarity. There's been a huge amount of investment in PWR, the women's game, and rightfully so. And we've got a thriving amateur section here with the women's team. But we want to know what the direction is for it, because we can adjust. We can. The Championship can look on its own 2 feet around increased numbers, 14, 16 clubs, whatever that is. But we need some clarity over it. And funding is absolutely part of that discussion, so that we know what we're working towards. And that's, I guess, all that we're asking, because then we can start to make the right business challenges and business models for ourselves to address whatever the future lies ahead. At the moment, we feel like we're still dangling a little bit, I guess, and waiting for that answer. I mean, flip that question on its head, Sam, and say, you're involved in the game at all levels, and I'd probably throw it back from a supporter's voice as well. What do you want to see happen? Where are the things that, I guess, in the wider rugby world, you think is right for the game?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think you need clarity. I think you need some sort of step through. You need an opportunity in which to have open, frank, transparent conversations where we all understand where we're going and what we're doing. I think we've got to put things to one side. And what's difficulty, and the difficulty here is that we have people who are in charge of businesses, so to speak, and we've got to almost put those things to one side for the greater good of the game. And I think that's what needs to happen first and foremost, is everyone needs to agree that we need to stop shouting at each other and stop saying that this is important to me, but actually look at the sport as a whole. And the next year or so is going to be crucial to that. And that's what I would hope. Now, as you say, I'm lucky enough, fortunate enough to have a little bit of understanding of the game, but I also am a fan. And I also love coming to watch great rugby alongside great people. This club does that, and I know there are lots of clubs in the Championship and the Premiership who do that, and probably below who will be able to do that, and that's what we've got to focus on. Correct?
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. The words we use: fair and equitable.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a really good summary, Sam. I think the next 12 months are critical, and actually, I think there needs to be a whole game approach. We want to be in partnership with the National League clubs, with the rest of the game. We see the lack of investment in the community section through the replacement of RDOs locally, things like that. And actually, there's great opportunity through clubs to develop that. So, we're all been pointing fingers. Actually, it's about how we come together and unify this process, because actually, this isn't for us a great breakaway or a great this, that, and we want to work together for the future of the game. And it's quite difficult as a Welshman to say, I want the English game to prosper and I want to see the national team doing really well.
Yeah, I would say so. Last word to you, David. Round us off. Just remind us again of where Bedford find themselves and just how good a place this is.
Well, I mean, we're lucky, as Gareth said. We've got tremendous support. We're a town club. We always have been a town club. We've got great sponsors, and our team, Gareth and all our team, and Mike, we all work very hard at putting on a great show here at Goldington Road every Saturday and every other Saturday, and that's put us in the position that we're in to be financially sustainable, to be at a break-even position, and for us, everything starts from there, because if you're not there, you've got no freedom of decision making. If you're there, you can say, as we say, well, we'll participate in the discussions, but we'll do what's right for Bedford. So yeah, that's I think where we are. We want a strong, thriving second tier. It seems pretty obvious that that's in the general interests of the game, and as you said, we need to be talking together openly about that. Hasn't been the case up till now. Let's hope that we can sort of rule a line and go forward from here.
David, Gareth, thank you very much. Maybe we should have another chat in a few months' time.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Sam. Thanks, guys.